Career high for you tonight. How'd that first half feel, especially with 18 and just 20 minutes of play?
I mean, it obviously feels good, I think, for me, just playing with confidence. We're missing people, so everyone's got to do a little bit extra, be a little bit more aggressive offensively. So that was my mindset going in, and obviously it feels good to see the ball go through the net.
One player just flipped the script for Indiana's season, but is it already too late?
McBride was an all-star for the 5th time in her career as Boston goes backdoor to Hull, working on Williams. Hull gets it to go, and a foul.
On a night where the Fever were hanging on by a thread, Lexi Hull delivered the best performance of her young career, and it wasn't just the numbers that stood out, it was the timing. Hull stepped onto the floor knowing her team was running on fumes. No Caitlin Clark, no Sophie Cunningham, no Sydney Coulson, and by the end of the night, even more names would be missing. But instead of shrinking under the spotlight, Lexi grabbed it. She played nearly 37 minutes, poured in 23 points on 9 for 16 shooting, and knocked down 4 of her 7 threes.
Second all-star appearance was right here in Indianapolis back in July. Oh, looking inside for Boston. She will launch and knock down a 3. Lexi Hull's hit a pair. End of that game, but foul line continues to flummox Smith here this year. Here's Hull backdoor, puts on the brakes and lay it in. It's a Lexi Hull show here.
What made it so special was how she got them. Early in the game, she looked completely unfazed by Minnesota's defense, gliding backdoor for easy layups and draining jumpers like she'd been waiting her whole career for this chance. By halftime, she already had 18 points, giving Indiana life at a moment when most fans expected them to fold. This wasn't garbage time stat padding. These were buckets when the Fever desperately needed someone to carry the offense. She gave them a spark, she gave them hope, and for a stretch in the first half, it felt like the entire season had new energy. If you believe Lexi Hull deserves a bigger role with the Fever, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because this is just the beginning of her story.
Lexi, did you come into tonight kind of expecting to play darn near the whole game, just with the injury situation and the personnel available?
Damn, you played 37 minutes.
I mean, you played a lot too, Kels. What did you play? 35. I mean, yeah, we're down people, so gotta suck it up, play a little tired a few minutes, and take in those timeouts as best we can. But yeah, I mean, we're down people, so everyone's got to do a little more.
Yeah. For you offensively, was the plan to kind of try and get some looks inside early to get yourself going and then start working from the outside, or was that just kind of how the game set itself up?
Just to read the defense, you know. I think I got some really good passes on the back cuts, and that's a testament to my teammates, you know, finding me, but keeping moving, just reading whatever they're given.
But while Lexi was shining brighter than ever, everything around her was falling apart.
16 in the first half for McBride. Hull catch and shoot, knocks down another. 18 for Hull. That is a noose.
Lexi's breakout meant everything in the moment, but the bigger story looming over Indiana is the injury nightmare that refuses to end. What started as a few setbacks has spiraled into a full-on crisis that no team could realistically survive. It began with Caitlin Clark. Since mid-July, the rookie phenom has been sidelined with a nagging groin injury that robbed the Fever of their floor general and biggest star. Losing her already felt like a knockout punch. But then it got worse. Sophie Cunningham went down with a torn MCL, the kind of injury that doesn't just end a season, it raises questions about recovery timelines and what comes next. Sydney Coulson's year ended after an ACL tear. Ari McDonald was shut down with a serious foot issue. That's 4 rotation players gone before Indiana even set foot in this game.
Just obviously Chloe Bibby, a late addition to the injury report. Just when did that injury happen, or do you know the severity at this point?
Felt something during pregame, and so holding her out as a precaution. We don't know anything, so hopefully we'll get some more information tomorrow when she can be seen.
Had she been dealing with any soreness or anything like that in previous days, the week leading up to tonight?
Yeah, I think everybody's dealing with soreness at this point in the year. But yeah, I had been dealing with a little bit of knee soreness, and again, just want to make sure that we're cautious and figure out what's going on before she gets out there.
And then came the gut punch nobody saw coming. Chloe Bibby felt pain in her knee during warm-ups and was scratched at the last second. Later, Odyssey Sims left in the 4th quarter and never returned. That's 6 rotation players wiped out. 6. No coach in the league can replace that kind of firepower and experience.
In Chloe Bibby's absence, you'll likely see a lot of Turner on the floor here today as Lexi Hull launches and hits. It's a 3-point parade. Going in. Here is Hull. Look how aggressive Lexi Hull has been here in the first half. That was her 8th shot. Lexi Hull with all the confidence in the world. Petty Wide open. Oh, yes.
Suddenly, Hull wasn't just stepping up, she was practically the last wing standing. The Fever were forced to throw together lineups that looked more like pickup squads than professional rotations. Players who'd been signed just days earlier were suddenly being asked to run the offense. Every time it seemed like Indiana had found a little rhythm, another injury landed like a hammer. Fans didn't even know who was suiting up until minutes before tip-off, and players were learning each other's tendencies on the fly. And with every injury, the weight on Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell's shoulders grew heavier and heavier.
Lexi Hull tonight, career high for her, just especially effective there early on. What were you seeing from her performance?
She was aggressive. I mean, she was hunting shots. She was aggressive to the rim. You know, she knew we needed another scorer on the floor, and because of the attention that Kelsey and AB get, she was getting free and she was hunting shots, and that's what we're going to need from her.
If Lexi Hull was the unexpected spark, Kelsey Mitchell was the steady fire that refused to burn out. Game after game, she's been the heartbeat of this franchise, and on this night, she reminded everyone exactly why her teammates call her their MVP.
Oh my goodness, I was taken back. It was fun. It was funny. I was very humbled. I was grateful for my group. I love the people I play with, and to know that they would go out their way to make something like that happen for me, it means a lot more than people know, because I have been here the longest. I have, everything that people talk about, I have been, and to know that my teammates kind of like see me as, I have value somewhere, and I feel like they make me feel like, I'm important to them and vice versa. And so that value means everything to me. And anybody knows me, I'm a loyal type person. And so I'm going to forever look at them like forever friends after something like that.
Before tip-off, the Fever walked into the arena wearing shirts with one bold message: MVP Kelsey. It wasn't just for show, it was a statement of respect. For years, Mitchell has carried this team through ups and downs, often without the recognition she deserves. But this time, her teammates made sure the world noticed.
Mitchell in the second half, and that overtime.
Well, we know she can heat it up.
Oh, Petty shaking off Carrington, and she hits her first shot with the Fever. It's a corner three, and Indiana's opened up 4 for 5 from the three-point. Fever on the night are shooting 69%. Look at Turner running the floor like a guard. Kick out Petty. Oh, yeah!
And Kelsey backed it up. She poured in 27 points, knocked down 5 of 7 from deep, and added 5 assists for good measure. Whenever Minnesota's defense keyed in, she found another way to score. Transition pull-ups, catch-and-shoot threes, driving floaters. She threw the entire bag at them. Afterward, Mitchell admitted the shirts meant more to her than people might think. They make me feel like I'm important to them, she said. And that value means everything to me. For a player who's too often overlooked in league-wide conversations, that validation mattered.
She has managed everything so well, and not only are the players resilient, but she's been resilient.
And so too is Kelsey Mitchell, who knocks down
in transition.
Austin and Carlton collide. No whistle either way. Mitchell fires away.
But this wasn't just about Kelsey's emotions. On the floor, she was the anchor holding everything together. Without Clark, without Cunningham, without Sims by the end of the night, Mitchell had to create a fence on nearly every trip down the court. She did it with the composure of a star, keeping Indiana competitive long after the depth chart crumbled. Still, as brilliant as she was, the cracks were impossible to ignore. No matter how many shots Mitchell hit, no matter how much she willed her teammates forward, the Fever's problems were bigger than one player could solve. And that's when the spotlight shifted to Aaliyah Boston and the rest of the supporting cast.
In first place in the league. The only team that has already clinched a spot in the playoffs, assuming there's others. And McBride just reads it and eats it up.
Mitchell launches and knocks down a three. It's Mitchell's fourth.
Kelsey Mitchell may have been the engine, but every engine needs support. And for Indiana, that support came from Aaliyah Boston and a handful of unexpected names who refused to back down.
Mitchell slicing through, handoff Boston, who lays it in.
Kelsey Mitchell has to make decisions right now.
The field, they're 9 of 21 from the three-point line. Boston spins inside, and she's got back-to-back buckets. Here's Boston backing her way inside, spins, fades, fires, and hits. Well, rebound a moment ago from Jessica Shepard. Third quarter. They are shooting 61% on the night. Boston pulls down the offensive rebound, and Indiana.
Boston's stat line won't blow anyone away at first glance, 15 points and 6 rebounds, but considering the circumstances, it was exactly what the Fever needed. She fought for position against a loaded Minnesota frontcourt, absorbed double teams, and still managed to provide a steady presence in the paint. Her footwork and patience kept Indiana from collapsing completely inside. But here's where things got tricky. Boston had to do it without real backup. With so many forwards sidelined, she was stranded under the rim, often facing 2 or 3 bodies bodies at once. Every rebound was a war. Every touch felt rushed. Fans wanted more dominance from their all-star. But the truth is, she was carrying an impossible burden.
Turner with the offensive rebound. Hole is wide open and knocks.
That's where Brianna Turner was thrown into the fire. Normally a versatile defender who thrives in specific matchups, Turner suddenly had to stretch herself into roles far outside her comfort zone.
Don't think you want to play Lexi 40 minutes. How can you handle the wing without Chloe tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to do it by committee. Bree Turner can guard 5 positions, so she'll be out there defensively. We've got to try to manipulate lineups a little bit more to figure out who we can stretch the floor with. So probably on the floor at the same time as Dee in a lot of things that we do. But again, if it's not going to be space in the floor in the half court, we've got to be able to get our defense to create some offensive transition opportunities. That doesn't always have to be steals for scores, but we've got to get missed shots that allow us to get out, run out, and try to create some things in transition.
She was guarding 5 positions, switching onto guards, and trying to plug defensive holes left by missing teammates. The effort was there, but the toll was obvious. And then came the biggest surprise of the night, Shea Petty. Signed to a hardship contract, she barely practiced with the team, yet somehow she walked into the game like she belonged, dropping 10 points and drilling 3 of her 4 threes. Her catch-and-shoot confidence gave Indiana a jolt, and for a moment fans wondered if the Fever had found a hidden gem. Together, Boston's steadiness, Turner's grit, and Petty's spark helped keep Indiana alive. Paired with Mitchell's fire and Hull's breakout, the Fever were doing just enough to make it feel like this might be a storybook night. But then halftime ended, and everything unraveled in the blink of an eye. For 20 minutes, the Fever looked alive. Lexi Hull was scorching from deep, Mitchell was in full MVP mode, and Boston was holding the paint just enough to keep Minnesota honest. At halftime, Indiana had the lead. The energy in the building was buzzing like maybe, just maybe, this shorthanded squad could pull off the upset.
Both Hull and McBride are slow to get up on the other end. It's 4-on-4. 2 more for Boston. Petty looking inside, finds Hull. Boston, deep position, 2 more.
And then came the third quarter. In a span of minutes, everything Indiana had built crumbled into dust. Minnesota outscored the Fever 32-7 in that frame alone. That's not just a swing, it's a demolition. One possession at a time, the Lynx turned the game into a track meet that Indiana couldn't survive. It was simple basketball, but brutally effective. Minnesota spread the floor, attacked in straight lines, and crashed the glass like their lives depended on it. The Fever, running on fumes, couldn't keep up. Closeouts were late, rebounds slipped away. Aaliyah Boston found herself stranded under the rim, surrounded by multiple jerseys, watching second chance points pile up.
What do you know about Odyssey after I think she left the game and didn't return? Is she injured? What's up with that?
Yeah, no, we don't know anything yet. She's going to get evaluated tomorrow, so we'll see.
With regards to Odyssey, do you have any ideas of what it was she tweaked? Was it a groin or any?
I have no idea. I just heard her say I need a sub, and so I got Shea up there.
And the offense completely vanished. With Bibby scratched and Sims gone, the Fever's rotations turned chaotic. Guards looked hesitant, possessions stalled, and instead of clean sets, Indiana got rushed jumpers and unforced turnovers. The sharp, confident ball movement from the first half was gone, replaced by confusion and fatigue. Fans watching didn't just see a collapse, they saw a pattern, because this wasn't the first time Indiana had carried a lead into halftime, only to watch it disappear before the fourth quarter even began. The scoreboard told the story. Minnesota had adjusted. Indiana hadn't. And the question everyone was asking was unavoidable. Was this just about tired legs, or was something deeper at play?
The lulls that you obviously mentioned just now, and how you guys want to make those lulls obviously not
shorter.
As bad. Just what can the team do on the floor? What can you guys as a coaching staff do in the moment to kind of break those up?
Yeah, I mean, some of it's timeouts. Some of it's substitution matchups, although we don't have a lot of those. And some of it's just attention to detail. I mean, championship teams, their attention to detail throughout the course of 40 minutes is there for the most part. And we're learning how to do that.
When the third quarter collapse hit, the conversation immediately shifted from the players to the sidelines. Fans and analysts didn't hold back. Was this just bad luck, or had head coach Stephanie White failed to make the right adjustments? Because this wasn't a one-off. Time and time again this season, Indiana has come out strong in the first half, only to collapse in the third quarter. Opponents make their tweaks. The Fever, too often often they stay the same. And against a deep, well-coached team like Minnesota, that's a death sentence. On the surface, the criticism sounds fair. Rotations didn't change, coverages stayed predictable, and the defensive intensity dropped exactly when the game was in the balance. But White had her own explanation. She pointed out that the Fever were essentially trying to integrate two new point guards, players who had barely practiced with the team. That lack of chemistry made every adjustment harder to execute. She admitted the team suffered personnel breakdowns, and that the offensive rhythm was nowhere near where it needed to be. It's a reality check. This isn't just about one or two questionable calls from the bench. Indiana is asking newcomers to run the offense in the middle of a playoff chase. Plays that worked with Caitlin Clark now end in hesitation or turnovers. Defensive rotations that once looked sharp are now a half step slow.
Our players bust their ass. Like, they battle every single game. And you know, they just, it's a couple minutes here and there. You got to play a 40-minute game. But this is a special group of women, man, with what they've been going through, and everything that they've had to continue to overcome, and to put ourselves in position. You know, it could have been real easy to fold in that third quarter when they broke it open. To put ourselves in position, you know, to come back to compete to win a ball game. I mean, it's no matter what it happens, win or lose. The roots that this group is forming culturally, the roots that they're forming in terms of competitive spirit and what it means to compete at this level. I mean, those are what allow us to withstand these storms. And you know, the numbers tell a story, but you know, their hearts and their character tell another one.
Still, fans aren't buying patience anymore. They're watching their all-star Aaliyah Boston trapped under the rim with no help. They're watching shooters left wide open. They're watching leads evaporate in the exact same way night after night. And for them, it feels less like bad luck and more like a coach who simply isn't reacting quickly enough. The blame game is growing louder. Some argue White is too slow to adjust. Others insist no coach in the league could navigate this level of injury chaos. But one thing is clear: Indiana's margin for error is shrinking by the day, and the standings are proof of it.
No matter what it happens, win or lose, the roots that this group is forming culturally, the roots that they're forming in terms of competitive spirit and what it means to compete at this level. I mean, those are what allow us to withstand these storms. And you know, the numbers tell a story, but you know, their hearts and their character tell another one.
Step back from the box score, and the Fever situation becomes even more urgent. Right now, Indiana is still clinging to 6th place in the standings, but that cushion, it's paper thin. Just half a game separates them from 7th, and barely a game and a half keeps them from dropping all the way to 9th, the dreaded cutoff line where playoff dreams die. Every loss like this isn't just another mark in the standings. It's a swing that could determine whether this team even makes the postseason. And the scariest part, the Fever don't have time to figure things out. With Clark sidelined and so many starters done for the year, they're relying on lineups that were never supposed to share the floor. One off night from Mitchell or Boston, and the whole foundation wobbles. Fans feel the tension. They see the injuries. They hear the explanations. But at the end of the day, the clock is ticking. Every third quarter collapse, every game that slips away, is another step toward missing the playoffs. A fate that would sting even more after glimpses of how good this roster looked when fully healthy. Still, not everything is doom and gloom. Because even in the middle of all this chaos, one performance gave Fever fans a reason to believe. Lexi Hull's career night wasn't just a spark. It might have been the start of something bigger. Lexi Hull's career night wasn't just about the points on the scoreboard. It was about proving something bigger to her teammates, to her coaches, and to the fans who have been waiting to see what she could really become. For the first time, Hull looked like more than a role player. She played like a difference maker, someone who could carry real offensive weight when the team needed her most. She cut with purpose, hunted shots, and played with a confidence that was contagious. The kind of performance that makes you think, maybe Indiana's future isn't just Clark, Boston, and Mitchell. Maybe Hull belongs in that core conversation too. And that's what makes this moment so fascinating. Was this just a desperate spark in the middle of a lost season, or the beginning of Hull's rise into a permanent bigger role? For a team still fighting to stay alive in the playoff race, it might be the storyline that keeps fans believing when everything else feels broken. Because yes, the injuries are brutal. Yes, the third quarter collapses are maddening. And yes, the playoff cushion is dangerously thin. But in the middle of all that, Lexi Hull gave fans something to hold on to. A glimpse of what this team could look like if the pieces ever fall back into place. So now the question falls to you. Does Lexi Hull deserve a permanent spot as a featured player for the Fever moving forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you believe in Lexi and this Indiana squad, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. Because whether it's a spark or the start of something bigger, one thing's for sure, this story isn't finished yet.